Okay, I'm going to try to show you here how to degree a camshaft. Now if you'll see, I've got my degree wheel sitting on here. I made up just a pointer that I haven't really even set yet, just out of a piece of TIG welding wire. I've got a dial indicator on the piston travel for top dead center of the piston. I've got my longer dial indicator coming down here on the intake valve of the #1 cylinder. Now as that lifter comes up and down, I've got that riding right on the edge so that it gives you a reading. Now when you degree a camshaft, and try to set this, and I'm just going to be reaching around the camera here. First off is you find top dead center on the piston. Because you can turn this degree wheel around, but if you look at this gauge, you're going to see me come around. See, that was top dead center right there. So I'm going to come back from top dead center, about 40 thousandths. I'm going to come around here until I hit 0, because the top dead looked like it was about 42 on my indicator. Then I'm going to look at what it reads right here, which is 10 degrees before top dead center. Now I'm going to go in rotation. I'm going to go past top dead center. I'm going to come back past my 0. Now I'm going to bump this back to right about, that's 0. So that's going to be right where we were. Now if you look at my gauge or my dial degree wheel, it's looking at about 12.5 degrees. So I was 10 degrees one way, I'm 12.5 the other. Now I'm just going to bend this to where it meets right about 1 1/4, because that's half of 2.5. And when I say 2.5, from 10 to 10, obviously I would have been right in the middle, but I was 12.5 degrees. So I should be pretty accurate now. If I were to check this again, I'm going to come back up. I'm going to do this again here. If you watch this little gauge, I'm going to come to 0. Okay, and if you look, I'm at about 11 degrees, maybe a smidge over. I'm going to come down, I'm going to come back up, past, I'm going to come back to 0, right there. Now I'm at 11 degrees here. So I know that if I move this to 0, that's exactly top dead center of that piston. So I know that at least this is what, when you degree a camshaft, you degree the intake lobe of the camshaft, the highest point, to the highest point of the top dead center of the piston. That's the only two degrees that you're going to be checking. Now I'm going to rotate this over and I'm going to watch this gauge. I guess I could turn this up. It doesn't ever, you don't have to make it read 0 if you keep this in your head. But I'm going to go around until I get to my highest point, which is where that needle's going to stop moving. Okay, it looks like it's about 77. Now I'm actually going to come back back past. Now I just kept in my head 77, so I'm gonna start at 50 thousandths shy of 77, which would be 27. But you always bring it back past a little bit and then go clockwise back to your direction, because that'll take up the slack in the timing chain or anything. And you kind of want to, so I'm going to bump this around until I get to 27. Okay, now I'm going to look at my degree wheel. I'm at 59 degrees. So I'm going to write down 59. Okay, now I'm going to go around 77, and it's going to be coming back. Now this one, because I want the timing chain loaded, I'm not going to back this back up. I'm just going to come till I hit 27 on this gauge, and then I'm going to mark this reading, which is 146, maybe 146 and a half, but okay. Now here's where I'm going to do some math. Let me bring you over here. Okay, so 59 was my first reading on my intake lobe. 146 and a half was the second. Now I'm going to, with a calculator, I'm going to take 59 plus 146.5, that's 205 and a half. And what I'm doing here, I just added those two together, and it comes with 205 and a half, but divide that by 2. So right now my camshaft intake center line is at 102 3/4. I want to degree this camshaft in at 100 degrees because I have a lobe separation angle of 106, and I'm running this camshaft 6 degrees advanced, so I'm going to put it in at 100. So where this is right now, I actually have to advance this camshaft 2 3/4 degrees. So the way to do that, and I'm going to end up having to shut this off because I've got to pull my timing chain back off, but to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this degree wheel off, and if you look, at the